So this shit is changing, and it's changing very fast.
Everything lives on this system, and we call it what? The brain.
Bobby, for this person, for this scenario, right? This AI, it's a lot of systems working together.
This is our own company version of a Siri.
In McAllen, where do I need to pay attention to sales-wise as well as labor percentage?
You've got 2 McAllen stores. The 23rd Street location, it's down nearly 14% week to date. The 83rd Street store is holding better.
These local models are ours and only providing information to us and nobody else.
That is freaking awesome.
It is.
We're in talks with now our second group to build custom AI tools for them. Okay, John called it. HEB AI coming soon, I bet you.
For sure. If you need help, let us know.
Yeah. HEB, call RestroTech. In 12 quarters, we predict to make $1 billion.
Every system we've built runs on something, and today we talk about what that something is. John, Bob, all our flash reports, daily restaurant audits, deposits, bank transfers, everything lives on this system, and we call it what? The brain. Super excited to dive into talking about this topic. I think it doesn't get talked about enough. And even when I speak to friends, family members, or even just random people out there that are asking questions about AI, I feel like there's always this misconception about what the brain is. Some of them may think, well, that's just my AI. You know, it already knows me. It's chat. You know, it knows, it stores everything that I know. So they think they're talking to the brain, but I think there's a lot more that goes into this. So, Bob, quick question for you. When John came to you with this idea of buying a machine, you know, he's talking about buying a, what, $25,000 machine? 28. Okay, so $28,000 machine instead of renting compute, because you can store things on the cloud, right? What was your first reaction?
My first reaction was, it better tell us when it's cloudy in the morning so we can get lights in here, Rudy.
And it can probably do that.
Definitely estimate if we need lighting or not in a morning like this based on the weather. We actually do have a lot of weather data points in there, so that's good.
We do, yeah.
What did I think when John came? Yeah, I want to be careful with this, not this sounding pretentious, but hopefully John's okay with me expressing this in this way. I try to make decisions that are best for everyone here at the company, and I want to create an environment that is inspiring, but that's genuine, right? We talk a lot about our non-negotiables, etc. And there's a lot of non-negotiables that kind of speak towards this. And so embracing mistakes is one of them, right? So when I'm thinking, it's like, man, maybe I'm making a horrible mistake. This is a big dollar amount. This is a huge deal. But frankly, and John, you can correct me, but I took the time to kind of mentor John a little bit on how I viewed this investment.
100%.
It wasn't mentoring him on AI because he's the AI knowledge, right? I came in with a different perspective, and I think what I asked you to kind of look at, John, was more of instead of that agency scarcity mindset, let's look at these kind of more from a investment mindset and from an asset. Mm-hmm. And so when we made a decision to reinvest into 2 big areas in our business, which is AI and digital media, I've got to put, my actions behind that. I can't just say that and then not invest time, money, resources, etc. Mm-hmm. So to answer your question, I asked some questions, obviously, mainly towards like security and sustainability, right? Because I want to know, well, that's fine. One computer is not a big deal. But when's John going to walk in here and ask for another computer, another computer, another computer? And it's not really John asking, it's our work that's asking for more hardware. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to understand what the rollout plan is and how can we increase the ROI fast enough to justify the investment, so that way the shelling out of money doesn't outweigh the ROI. and we don't get into it backwards, because we're not a tech company. So this is not like future earnings, in
Yeah.
12 quarters we predict to make $1 billion. No, we need to make money every month. This is a for-profit business, and people count on our decision making to make money. And so that's kind of in a nutshell, kind of how I viewed it. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, or
No, that's pretty much it. It's a big investment, but I think we're making an investment into the future, and we're setting up the hardware for what's to come, not necessarily what's here.
Now it is true. Both of us bounce this idea back and forth a lot, but the brain makes a lot of sense to me. And frankly, it goes back to it sounds like we can it's a very complicated project. Let me start out with that. It is complicated.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to even comprehend or understand what it is that we're creating. But if you look at it from just a macro perspective, I simplified it to the idea of, do we want to create individual widgets or tools or resources to drive one component of our business, which in large part is probably the most equitable decision at first? Or do we want to play the long game and invest in hardware and technology that's going to help double down on people? And what I mean by that is the brain, I think we will get to a point where I should receive a weekly report and say, Bob, this is what you did well this week. This is what you followed through with. This is what you didn't follow through with. This is where maybe you can be a little bit more accountable. And so now there's something sitting parallel to all of our work that is essentially coaching and mentoring me and everyone else here.
Yeah.
And if we're open-minded to that as a data point, it's not going to be a robot that determines if you have a job or not. It's a resource and a data point to reinvest into people. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's probably in the camp of complex, inefficient, and not where people want to live. But it's in the camp I want to live in, because I think we're going to go through so many deals and roller coasters through this AI journey. But the goal is the same.
Yeah.
The goal is the same for us. And it's to attract good people, train them, grow the business together, empower people, and really hone into that. And that's where I think the brain can offer a lot.
I love that. Yeah. John, a question for you. Can you walk us through that moment when you decided we needed to own this instead of like actually having something live on the cloud? Because I think that's some decisions that businesses are making right now, right? It's like, do I own this locally? Do I have to have hardware? Versus keeping it on the cloud and essentially just renting, your space, I guess. Can you walk me through that?
I wrote this down the other day, which is something that I think is like, it just, I don't know, kind of impacted me a little bit, which was like filing cabinets gave way to the cloud, right? Mm-hmm. And like that to me, just like we went from owning everything to giving it out to some other companies, right, and renting out space from them. And that goes across the board, right? Now we rent our movies, we rent our music, we rent software, we used to own Adobe
all
software.
Subscriptions became normal.
So when I think about it and I look at this in a macro level, right, I see us going and reverting back, mm-hmm. right, to owning everything. So when I analyze what we're doing here, and I see where AI is now on this very subscription level based, like you're renting it from somebody else. I as this becomes more powerful and compute becomes more widely available, and these AIs get condensed down to usable local models that can fit on your phone, that everything starts coming back to the person, right? Your data starts becoming yours. Your information, your health, whatever it is, right? It starts becoming yours. And I think you're seeing this with a lot of people. You're seeing it with open source software. You're seeing it with Apple being heavy on privacy and protections for yourself, on your text messages and your health data. You're seeing it across the board. So when we're building, not for now, and we're building for 5 years from now, we need to think about, okay, so number one, we need to start housing all of our data internally. We need to own it all. That's step one, right? Once we own it all, we're creating a library, mm-hmm. right? And then once we have that library of all of our data, we have a librarian, Bobby, for this person, for this scenario, right? This AI that now can sort through this data and give us the information at a moment's notice. And that I think is just is kind of where my brain went was we need to develop the infrastructure of intelligence for our company that is based off of all data points that exist, and then provide a resource for going into that database and bringing out the information you're looking for, right? Versus, well, I need some accounting data. I'm going to go into our accounting software, log in. Well, it's not there. It's actually in our POS system. Let me go to our POS system and log in. It's too complicated. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it is.
when I sat down and really thought about it, the only thing that came to mind, well, a lot of things came to mind, but the one that hit me the hardest, I think, was we need to provide ourselves a system that is going to be healthy in the future to house local models for us to operate entirely locally in the future, and to house all of our information and data locally as well. And both of those working together, I think, is now creating a very strong system and infrastructure for our company to operate at a very high level where we're not dependent on outside resources. And something that's happening a lot lately is like OpenAI or Anthropic just knocking people's accounts off and just being like, no, you can't use it anymore. You violated this, which now you're in a whole back and forth argument with them and trying to get to a legal destination and being like, no, I didn't do that. So just please give me access back to my account so I can continue. It's too much craziness.
It's risky.
Right? It's too risky.
It's risky to rent your space through these platforms because at any point that there's a system outage or, you know, or they just decide or they get shut down, all your data's gone at that point. And
And your superpowers are just gone,
Everything.
wiped out. Yeah, so it's just all like, now you're just back to square one in a moment's notice because they decided to. So I think, to answer your question, what was my thought process going into this? It was, how do I provide the highest, most secure level of intelligence for this company in a way that it's doing this for the future, not for right now. Right?
And in a way where every day that goes by, you have a net positive impact on the individuals making a decision here. It expands the way we're thinking. It expands the way we're analyzing data. It expands the way we're asking questions. And that's the AI function can come and go. But every day, I truly believe, because of this tool that we're using and the way we're using it, because I see those memes. Like, have you seen those memes where they're like, us in 20 years when AI makes all the decisions for us? And it's like a bunch of cavemen.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Okay, yeah, they're just like, duh.
Yeah.
There's some truth to that, but I don't think there's truth to that the way we're using it, because it's a learning tool for us, right? And it teaches us about a lot of different things, particularly when you're building, because in order to build, you need to have conceptual understanding. Yeah, it's crazy.
Right.
I mean, I made the comment the other day or yesterday or whatever it was, that we're literally going to go through an MBA in business by building out different areas of our business. Yeah. We're going to understand our business 10 times, 100 times better in a much faster capacity than we would have ever have by rebuilding all of our processes with AI.
Yeah, you're right. And, before I get into the hardware, you mentioned something, John, that I wanted to ask and clarify. You said Bobby, but what exactly is Bobby? Can you explain that?
Did you ever play Halo?
Yes, I did.
You remember the library in the first Halo with the librarian? The little robot floating around? Yeah. That's just what I think about all the time with the brain. Is like we're literally building this library. I said it a little bit earlier, right? And Bobby is the librarian.
We should buy a Roomba and then just put a phone on top of the Roomba. And
with Bobby
on it?
Yes.
That way it feels like...
Constantly listening.
So it's a full library that you can really just ask anything and it's going to give you an answer for every question you...
And that might sound simple, but it's not. And that was like the first hiccup that I ran into building this was, okay, I have 260 million lines of data. Let me ask it a question. And there it was. 30 minutes later, 45 minutes later, okay, well, it's not getting me an answer. What's happening? And it's literally going line by line by line by line by line by line. I was like, okay, so that doesn't work. We can't just have it go through every book in the library, right, to give me an answer in one book. So we need to build a system. We need to build a neural net, a an ability, a system that allows the Bobby or the AI to then go through categories that then lead into subcategories, that then lead into even more subcategories, and then to land to at its specific destination, right? So that was a process in itself. But it's the same thing. Like that's why I keep going back to a library, because it makes sense in my head. Because everything's categorized, right? You have the type of book it is, the author name, and so it's a very similar system.
Would it be safe for me to say that this is our own company version of a Siri?
Yeah.
So you ask Siri questions, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But in this case, you're asking Bobby. My Siri went off on my laptop. That's funny. But in this case, you're asking Bobby, your company AI, your brain. You're asking it questions, and it's actually giving you what you want.
Pretty much. And
let's try it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just do it.
So
Let's see.
So what does it look like? Can you
So I don't want to give out too much personal company information, so I'll ask a
Fine.
simple
This is good.
question.
Well, you can gear the questions towards more
So-
simple, but
You can see Bobby here, right?
mobile app?
It's a mobile app version of our mainframe, but it literally is just Bobby.
You can have
At the
this on a
moment.
computer or your
Yeah, it's on
mobile
both the
device.
computer or the phone. So let me. Howdy, Bobby. Morning. Can you let me know any news that might be affecting our business today? So now it's thinking, going through some research, and it should just begin speaking right now. And I'm actually doing an update right now on speed. So I'm hoping by the end of the day or this week that we'll have
You've got a mixed bag this morning. The big one is Mexico's out of the World Cup, so that month-long soccer watch party
Oops.
boost
Ouch.
is finished.
ouch.
That's a real traffic headwind. On the flip side, you've got a heat wave rolling through with heat indices near 110, which typically drives ice cream and blizzard sales hard at Dairy Queen. Beef prices are still crushed at record highs, pushing burger costs up. Gas is way up year over year, and the peso is weak, so cross-border shoppers have less buying power.
Oh, wow.
Back to school kicks in heavy in 4 weeks too, which pulls some discretionary spending away.
So you can ask Siri that, right? But it's not going to tell you specific news to your business.
And
let's
how
go.
it's-
Let's go back. Let's go one more though. I
Okay.
understand. I appreciate you be sensitive about it, but let's just ask. Let's just ask about. We've been using McAllen 83rd Street, so go for it. It doesn't matter if people hear our numbers.
So just general sales?
Whatever you want about sales. This past week or last Wednesday or whatever.
Let's see. Thinking of the right question here. In McAllen, where do I need to pay attention to sales-wise as well as labor percentage? So now it's pulling our numbers, going through our data, analyzing it, and let's see what it says.
You've got 2 McAllen stores, and they're sending different signals. The 23rd Street location, your bigger box, is your real concern. It's down nearly 14% week to date, even though year to date it's up 4.9%. So something flipped this week. The 83rd Street store is holding better, up 5% month to date. On labor, both stores are actually in good shape, 20.63% at 23rd Street and 20.5% at 83rd. Both below or right at target, so that's not the issue. The sales stumble at 23rd is the one to dig into. Probably weather or that World Cup traffic drop hitting harder there.
Man, that's amazing because
It kind of blows my mind every time.
it's like, I mean, you said it
Yeah.
earlier casually, but in order for anyone in this business that needs that type of information, they'd have multiple tabs open. They'd be going into each restaurant's back of house. They'd be pulling probably multiple reports, not just one report, multiple, pulling up weather, trying to figure out what's actually happening around the town. Like that's
Now
insane.
it absolutely is insane. It's only going to get better. We haven't even rolled this out fully yet.
No, it's just in our small testing group right now
Yeah.
internally.
Now there are some learnings that we can continue to input, and this is not to rebuttal anything that it's saying because those are factual information. But I know that when we ask on Tuesday and it tells you week to date, it's only giving you one day. And if that Monday is comparing to last year's Saturday, then of course you're going to be down.
Yeah.
But that's a reporting how we look at calendar years versus periods, and it doesn't know that yet, right? So if it's on a Tuesday and you ask it how we're doing for the week and it says, oh, you're down 20%, it should say, and I believe it will say in the future,
It will.
but this is only one day day over day. And
I
by
see
the
what
way, last year was a Saturday versus this year's a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
your
that
slowest day. You know,
100%.
that type of context will come in the future. And that's why it's important for us as operators that you can't just take that for just face value. It's a data point, it's a resource. It helps us do what we're doing. But the more we understand our business, the better we can help it understand our business. And then it starts teaching us about our business.
True.
Yeah, so that's a ways to go. And these systems work off tooling, right? So exactly what Bob just said, that tool just doesn't exist yet for it to analyze it that way. So this is exactly why it's in an internal small group. And like even last week, there was like 4 or 5 things that we added to it, projections and looking at specific store waste data and so on, right? Yep. Weather data, all that. So you can, it just spouted out a bunch of weather data now, right? So it's cool.
But let's take our work hat off and our like analyzing hat off and just say that is freaking awesome.
It is.
It's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy, right? It's
I can't
crazy.
believe that. I mean, something can do this in this.
Yes.
I mean, I mean, I believe it, but I don't. It's like, wow.
One thing hit hard a long time ago, and it was from Boris from Anthropic. And I think it was earlier this year, it's like January, February. And I think about it all the time because he said the problem with people using AI is they just don't think big enough. And I'm like, man.
I hadn't heard that.
So I just need to think bigger every time I have a concept. So that's just like, okay, the brain. So what do we do with the brain?
Well, okay. Well, let's jump to bigger because let's talk about bigger. I woke up a little fired up this morning, to be honest, as you could tell, probably when I came in. But I'm trying to stay humble, guys. I'm trying to stay humble, right? No, man, I saw the headline about Square, and I'm 2 weeks late, but I saw it July 1st. Square released a service where AI, both ChatGPT and Claude, you can order off of, and it's going to go straight to the restaurant. So I'll explain that more in detail. But the reason why I got fired up is because people need to start subscribing and following RestroTech and engaging because we're seeing shit. We're seeing it happen. And this is starting to come up again. But there's 2 things I want to bring up. We talked about this, I think, on the first episode or the second episode. And I said, that's cool, but think of transactions, think of attention. These companies are going to want to get all the behaviors of humans so that they can monetize that later. They'll figure that out later. They just want everybody to be habitually on these AI tools. And it starts to happen, right? Because you start to realize, oh, I still ask Google for some stuff, but then I really mainly ask chat. And then it goes from 50-50 to 60-40 to 70-30 to 80-20. Now you're like, I don't use Google anymore, right? My point being is we talked about it that day, and we can look it up. Somebody pull up the clip, but it's the power is not in the voice AI. The voice AI power is not in the order taking. It's not in the hospitality aspect. I don't like that for AI. I like it for more of the convenience piece. Mm-hmm. So we have to understand what's happening here. But you literally can be at home and say, hey, Claude or whatever, order me a burger. And yes, it's out now. I have not tested it. But if you do that, it's going to go onto the internet, pull up all its metrics, go look and order you a burger and transact it. And Square is taking a fee for that. Wow. But I think the reason why it's important is because, again, they're fighting for human behavior. So, so this is I mentioned that again. We're seeing some stuff here. Please, you're gonna have to trust at some point that we don't know everything, but we're starting to have some fun and figure out some stuff. The other point I made was on, I believe, Pillar Mindset. Oh, about convenience, and we were talking about convenience fees, and we said, do you remember what I said? I said,
not to a T, but I know the general.
Yeah, it's going to reshape itself.
Yeah.
I think convenience is still going to be there, but it's going to reshape itself because I don't believe that 20 to 30% cost is sustainable.
Not at all.
It's not sustainable for the restaurant providers, and it's not sustainable for the consumer. So here it is. We're seeing the first piece of reshaping, and I'll explain exactly what I'm talking about. Right now, most consumers are going to DoorDash or Favor or Uber Eats, etc., and ordering. Mm-hmm. We work with these companies, etc. You put your menu on there. You put all your user interface there through DoorDash. They make it nice and pretty, etc. They push promotions. You can buy yourself to the top, et cetera, et cetera. They then take your order and it goes to the restaurant, it sends it to the restaurant, and you transact the order, right? So they are taking the ordering aspect, they're taking the transaction, they're taking everything, all the discovery, the menu, the looking, the shopping, they're taking the whole experience. That's why it costs 20 to 30%. Well, now with AI, and as of July 1st, apparently, again, you have to go check it out. I haven't tested it, but through AI and Claude, you can order. So now what's happening? What menu are you looking at?
You're not.
You're not.
Yeah, you're just talking.
So who's managing your menus? Who's managing all your pricing, G? Who are you working with to build out all those nice Uber Eats and DoorDash menus that we've done? You're not.
You're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they cut out all that infrastructure. So all of that's out. So the ordering side of it, that experience side is out. So then it goes into the actual ordering of the product. And Square is just taking the transaction. So Square is taking their 2 or 3%, whatever it is. Now, granted, not everybody uses Square, so it's only a portion, right? It's not agnostic to every single restaurant. So let's caveat, but take it for what it is as a concept, right? That as a concept just taught you that DoorDash, Uber Eats, all these delivery companies are going, oh, this is different. People that don't value the user experience of the menu and seeing all the visuals, etc., and are treating it as just a straight commodity, just a straight order me a burger. I don't know where it comes from, which there's going to be a portion of the market that does that. AI is going to steal that business.
Yeah.
And it's going to go do it. So now, again, hold all the way back down. What does that mean to us? What do you think it means to us as restaurant operators? What's more important today?
Gaining that customer.
Correct. So how do you gain that customer? Let's follow the trail.
Yeah, you gotta stay in line and stay up to date with those technologies that are
Yeah,
coming
correct.
up in the
So
industry.
and y'all know the answer. I know we're playing a game here, but y'all know the answer because y'all tell me every single day. But if AI is ordering, what does AI use? And so what does the restaurant need to be hyper focused on now?
Yeah, APIs. They need those integrations.
Maybe. But remember, AI is just, hey, order me a burger. Where's it going? What's it using? What's it climbing through? Those arms and legs.
Shoot, man, I'm getting super technical, but I mean, internet. It's
Yeah, correct.
you
So,
know,
but what on the internet?
restaurants, different restaurants, options. They're
What all?
Delivery
What is
drivers.
all of that? What are we talking about? AI. How can you use AI? You need what?
data.
Rudy!
Rudy came in clutch with
Rudy
the
came in
data.
clutch.
I'm like-
Both of y'all taught me this, and then Rudy answers. I
Yes,
love it.
data. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Data today is 100 times more important, because if you don't have your data on the internet 100% accurate, how is the AI going to go find you
I see.
if
What you
it
want.
can't scour your data? If your price pointing is not correct, your hours of operation aren't correct, you're not found on any of your reviews, your Googles, your Yelps, etc., it's not going to find you. You're going to be completely eliminated. So now let's add another element. AI is going to read black and white whatever is sentiment built about the restaurant. Your reviews are going to be that much more important, because if you say, order me the best burger, and you didn't say order it from Dairy Queen because you know Dairy Queen has the best burgers, it's going to go look for what
Customers are talking
customers are talking about. So it's going to go scour all the reviews. So now whatever customers are saying, it's going to take, okay, these people think this is the best burger. This is all the restaurants that I have data for. This is all the pricing, and I'm going to compile a good decision for G at home sitting on his couch.
about. Wow.
Have you seen what GoPuff is doing?
No.
So they're using Grok specifically with SpaceX AI, but they're now creating like a Tinder style environment for you to pop open the app for GoPuff, and then it shows you an AI generated picture of a bunch of different menu items from different restaurants or different places, like on a table next to a pool during the summer, to be like, hey, you could have this whole system or this whole order of beer with a burger and some chips and all this other stuff. You just press order. And then you
Creating,
just
like,
get
yeah,
this
bundle.
whole picture. and you just get it delivered to you. And it's crazy because it's not, nobody's going out and taking pictures. Nobody's going out making those decisions about compiling those together. It's AI taking your general weather data, your location, the general restaurants around you through data, right? Compiling that into an image, then pricing each item on the image so you know exactly the total price. And all you're doing is pressing one order, but you didn't tell it, I want, a pool style, fun meal for my day to day with a beer. You're just looking through general imagery, being inspired to what you're going to order next.
What you're going to order and what you might do that day.
We're also shifting to an environment where it's now kind of telling you what you want, which is
it paints a picture.
Yeah, it paints a picture for you. Yeah, literally.
Right. Yeah, I had not seen that, but this is the reshaping that we had talked about, and we're kind of guessing, right? But we can see a little bit of this. So I want to hit on the last point. So now DoorDash, last piece. We already discovered, ordered, transacted. What's next? What's the final piece? Is delivery. So now, how are they going to deliver, right? But DoorDash does that. I guarantee you Square or AI or a combination of both are going to create some type of white label delivery service that's a flat charge and nobody's going to even feel it, instead of this delivery fee $6 plus tip $10 more plus whatever. Mm-hmm. And now they just cut out a huge SaaS product, a huge
they're going to
commodity, right? Which is convenience. So convenience is still there, it still exists, but it's just that much more efficient. Like, people need to listen to this. Like, it's gonna revolutionize the way we do business. So yes, here at F&P, we have to go, well, then what does that mean to us? Yes, we have to go to our franchisors, we have to go have these conversations, we have to go do everything that we're doing. But on the AI side, it's our job at RestroTech, it's our job to understand how this is revolutionizing our business. And that's, I didn't know when I did that video at Pillar Mindset that it was gonna reshape itself, because I'm not smart enough, I don't know this shit. But then when you see it on the back end, you're like, oh, they're cutting out the middleman. Oh, that's exactly what we're doing at F&B with all our SaaS products. So it just makes sense, right? Like, and I'm not taking jabs at SaaS product providers or whatever, but we are rebuilding tools in-house, and we basically said anything that doesn't present some type of audit risk, scratch it and rebuild it.
Yeah.
Right? So if that's the case, well then why wouldn't you rebuild? So now what's going to happen? What's the real shift that's going to happen? Oh, by the way, guys, if your delivery business is 20 to 30% of your business, why don't you transact with Square? Come on board. We've got a new service and you can save 20 to 30% on 30% of your business. Yeah. And it goes straight to your bottom line. So now Square's got something that's going to propel them, and they're going to use that as leverage. Mm-hmm. So this shit is changing, and it's changing very fast. Now, again, it's a ripple effect. It's going to take some time, but man, it's going to crush businesses that already had data problems and are not focusing on data. So as I was driving here today, I was thinking, like, dude, we should probably strongly consider hiring somebody that just, I mean, I know you were doing it, we were doing it, all kind of different parts, but we literally should just hire somebody that just perfects our data everywhere.
Oh, that would be incredible.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
Right? Like, literally just, that's all you do.
Yeah.
But that's fascinating, right? I mean, I did not know that Square was doing that.
I didn't know that either. That's the first time.
And I see where it's going, sadly.
Well, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And again, I know it's like, ooh, Pizza Hut, 90 million transactions or whatever. It's like, hey, can I have a pizza? Yes, I can have a pizza. Okay, what did you do? You eliminated the guy overseas that has an accent? Like, that's the only thing you did. That doesn't provide any real value. You're just touching the surface. When you talk about AI the way John talks about AI, and you apply it to our business, you go, oh, John's telling me this is going to be my hands and feet. So if I'm working and I already know I hate ordering lunch, you mean to tell me that AI is going to be able to be my hands and feet and just order and get it here? Yeah, I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Yes, that's going to start moving the transactions. Yes, that's going to start changing the way people order, because we're not ordering. AI is ordering. Like, so that's, again, it's enough of a commodity and a convenience that it's going to impact people's businesses. Yeah. And we know what 5-10% does in the restaurant business.
Oh, yeah, it's big. It's big.
Dude, it's everything. It's everything. So it's going to get rocky for sure. But that's why we're here at RestroTech, and we're learning.
100%.
Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna get back into. I talked a little bit about the hardware piece, and we talked about the price and how that was just a little bit of a jump scare. But traditionally, in the past, when you'd hear numbers like that for hardware, you would assume that it was a traditional server, maybe server racks with multiple computers. But in this case, we bought a piece of hardware that's literally handheld, like you can hold this in your hand. But John, why a Mac Studio specifically? Can you walk us through
that's a good question.
Why that's the right call? What was that?
No, that's a good question. I was going to jump in and say something else, but I'm going to write it down. Let's answer that because that's important and people want to know that.
Yeah, because we were looking at what? We were looking at the NVIDIA DGXs. We were looking at Blackwells, those are actual like server stack systems. We were looking at, we're looking across building our own PC across the board, right? And so where did I end up finding a majority of my attention, and where was I doing a majority of research on, or where I ended up doing a lot of the research on was kind of the Mac systems, right? So, and why? Because one, it's an easy tethering system through Thunderbolt, so I can increase my VRAM on that system just by adding another studio. So very easy system there. It is a user-friendly UI versus Linux. Or just using kind of Windows. It has its own pre-built security system inside of it. We obviously beefed that up, 10 times over. And it was, at the end of the day, it was a packaged up item that was not cheaper, but it was well priced for what the entire environment was trying to sell that type of RAM for.
Yeah.
That type of RAM, that type of storage, that whole system bundled up in a PC or on a server stack, it would have costed way more. Yeah.
And right now we're literally living in a world where there's shortages in storage, RAM,
RAM's
everything,
a big issue.
just because of data centers being
Eating
put
it
out
up.
there. It's taking up all that hardware. So
Well, I want to mention real quick because this is at a macro level. We had a hypothesis. I don't know where it's at. It's probably blown over and people know now. But we were asking ourselves, what's going on with Apple? Where is Apple in the AI equation? And I still don't know. But I think what's probably happening, this is my guess, is that they are saying, you know what? We're already a healthy company. AI is extremely competitive. And why are we going to be in that rat race? Let's own what we're super good at. This is my hypothesis. Again, it's probably already out there. People already know. But my guess is that Apple is saying, we already lead in the hardware side. Why don't we go back to the drawing board and just create more hardware that's compatible with these AI tools so that everyone that chooses between Anthropic and OpenAI, let them go gold mine and let us just be part of every single person's equation because we're the one providing the hardware.
They're providing the pickaxes and the shovels.
Yeah, so I really think that's a good way to put it, a good analogy. So everyone's over here chasing the AI boom, and they're going to be a part of every single chase and lean into what they're good at. That's my theory. Why? Because when John's saying all this smart shit because he's super smart,
Oh my gosh.
I'm serious. I'm just thinking like, well, it was also because Apple's computers look cool, and they're clean,
they do.
Yeah, they are.
Because if we build our own computer, we know what it's gonna. It'll look okay, but it's gonna be more stuff.
Yeah.
Way more.
So they're really good at that experience piece, and that's my thinking. And I think everyone's trying to find their place in some of this. And so, if you don't mind, do you have something else on the technical side for the Apple piece?
Keep going. Yeah.
I want to mention. Let's go back to the ordering piece because it's super important.
Yeah.
So now, what if you were doing a marketing campaign today, right? And we were already on board. What would be our marketing campaign? If people are out there saying, "Hey, order me a burger, Claude," or Bobby, or whatever they have, their agent, their agentic ordering. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Agentic ordering. What would be our marketing campaign? What would be a fun one? Just a joking one. How would you interject yourself into that?
It would be ease of use. That's what I would go down
For
immediately.
sure.
So it's like poolside, grabbing your phone real quick, saying, "Hey, get me a burger, fries, and a couple misties."
Yes,
And
but
then
how
putting your
does
phone down.
F&P brands interject itself? into that equation.
What do you got, G?
Yeah, I mean, my mind just goes into like F&P AI, or like something. If you're talking,
Okay, now you're talking about the software side, but let's make it agnostic to any AI, right? So you're at your pool and you want a milkshake. How do I, as F&P, make sure I'm part of that order? What do I need to tell you to do?
oh, I need reminders. So
Reminder of what?
yeah, it just if I have my entire ecosystem connected to my AI, and my AI is knowing what I eat, what my schedule's like, where I'm vacationing, then my AI is sending me reminders and saying, hey, it looks like you had pool scheduled for today. If you haven't had lunch yet, here's a recommendation. And now I get a recommended blizzard, for the family, or whatever the case is. That's
a very good way to put it.
That's
That's a very good way to put it. You're literally ingraining yourself in the kind of the build of the AI. But let's just go with the voice, right? Because we're talking about voice. If you're going to order, I want a burger, what should we tell the consumer to do?
We'll order from DQ or
Right?
Schlotzsky's, yeah.
Right? Or F&P brands.
Or us, yeah.
Right? Because they know who we are locally. And they know what we're about. And they know that we're participating in a lot of different things here in the community, et cetera. So if they care about that, if you care any ounce about that, and you care about our success and want to reinvest in a company that you feel is good, then all you have to tell them is, hey, by the way, check this out. Order me lunch from F&P brands. And then the algorithm's going to go figure out what F&P brands is selling. Dairy Queen, Schlotzsky, Cinnabon, new brand, and pick out something exciting for you, right? So you could argue, again, I know that I'm doing a little trial and error here. Nothing's to be like take everything with a grain of salt, because we still have to work this stuff out. But like, what if you had a marketing campaign like tomorrow? Like, what if tomorrow we just told the public, hey guys, by the way, you can now order from Claude. Check this out. Just say, I want lunch from F&P brands.
Surprise me.
I think people would do it.
Yeah.
It's freaking cool.
Well, they would do for sure. It would be like an instant shock value.
There was an instant shock value. There's also the linking of, hey, I know these people, hopefully, right? We're trying to do good in the community. We're trying to do our part, etc. We stand for good values. Now there's a commodity that's being brought, but it's branded with RestroTech / F&P because they know who we are. Yeah. So our job is to say, one, do all the back end work on the data side, but two, your marketing message could be changing. Yeah. So you could be making content tomorrow. The media company could be making content tomorrow and be saying, hey, the game's about to start. Order me something from F&P brands. Yeah. Boom. Thank you so much. Where's Grubhub? Where's DoorDash? Where's Uber Eats? Like, I have nothing against these people, but people need to start listening to this content. Yeah. Like, this is the way the world's going. Like, it's going there fast. I had no idea Square released this.
Yeah, honestly, this part is news to me. I didn't know this. I knew about the GoPuff side with SpaceX AI, but I did not know.
Yeah. Now I like the GoPuff because isn't GoPuff? No,
they left us. HEB. They're not here anymore. I don't think.
Oh yeah.
I used to use them all the time too.
Oh yeah, they were
so bummed about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think they were using HEB. No, but they usually have their own like warehouses.
Favor's gonna say, "Here's your FIFA package."
Yeah, they're going there. Everybody saw that, and they're all noticing it. I'm sure DoorDash is going to have a whole reworking of their application.
By the way, this podcast is not sponsored, but I want to take this time to say that I freaking love HEB. I don't know who HEB is, Howard Edward Butts or whatever your name is, man. I love your company, dude.
Henry Butts.
Henry Butts. Yeah, they do such a good job, man. I forgot what I was doing. I was walking through the store. Actually, I was buying stuff for the Mexico game. And I'm just like, dude, this place is sharp. Like, they're just so good.
They empower their people
wildly, dude. Everyone's happy. Like, it's like
starting pay is incredible over there.
Yep. Yeah, like they just do everything so good. They have so many of their own products now. Like, I don't know, man. Like I'm also influenced because the one by my house just got remodeled, and it looks really sharp. But dude, they just, I don't know. I would love to be a fly on the wall. Give me a Saj. Or give
If
me
anybody in
whatever.
Texas is doing something that we're doing, it's probably them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
you
yeah.
know, they
Oh,
were at the
100%.
forefront of a lot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, always.
Okay, John called it. HEB AI coming soon. I bet you.
For sure. If you need help, let us know.
Yeah. HEB, call RestroTech. No, I'm serious, man. They're on their game, dude. They've got great vested programs. I've honestly, this is how weird I am. I have gone in there, pretended like I want samples or whatever because they'll be like giving out stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, so how long you worked here? And they're like 10 years. And I'm like, oh, so you like it?
It is. That's a
They
long,
point at
yeah.
the tag. They're like,
Yeah, it literally says right there 10 years or since. But I really do. I'm genuinely that curious. Like, I would love to be in their meetings. I would love to be just somewhere in there. I think whoever's behind that, man, wildly impressive stuff. Down to the quality of product, just the lighting in there. I mean, there's just really good stuff. Like, of course, every business has improvements, and they're expanding. They're selling all kinds of stuff now, I feel like. But I don't know. Anyways, I got one qualm. I told you I was jacked up today. Sorry. I got one problem with HEB. They got rid of those big red balls outside.
They did.
Yes,
What?
do you remember those?
Them and Target used to have them.
Yeah, do you
Target
remember what you
sells
used
them.
to do
Target
with a
has
kid,
them.
as a kid?
Yeah, I used to just jump on top of them.
Dude, you crushed
Or hurdle 'em.
HEB crushed my childhood freaking memories, dude. And they put pylons on it, and I was just like, boring.
Boring. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should make a
Don't-
little HEB bags or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, don't make the same mistake that I believe the QSR world made, which is we went way too modern and clean, and it's like,
Yeah, the character
wow.
left the building.
Yeah, that was really.
have you seen the little shopping carts that they created?
Oh,
also?
that's what it was. That's what it was.
My kids love.
That's
it.
what it
I was
was.
like, what?
Love
No,
it.
that's literally what it was. I was turning the corner, and I saw two little kids, and they were shoppers in
Yes.
training.
Yeah.
And I was just like, take my
Yeah,
money.
they're on it.
Take
Yeah,
my money. Apple Cash or whatever. Take my money. This place is awesome.
They're good.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Your kids use it, John?
I have a picture. There's a buddy of mine sent me this picture the other day, and I was like, "Well, that's not what it's necessarily supposed to be used for."
What is it?
Modelo.
The little thing.
Yeah, you probably can't see it. It's just a buddy of mine's kid with a little tiny shopping cart full of Modelo.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Oh my,
Oh my
gosh.
god. That's so funny you brought that up. That's exactly what I saw when I thought that. And I was like, take my money. What camera, Rudy? This one.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
There you go. Yeah, it's
That's
like not made to focus
Amazing,
on that.
man.
But it's just so funny, you know what I mean?
That's so
But it
funny.
provides moments like this. So
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know.
But
It's
is this
memorable. I think so. Pretty sure. Is it not?
Yeah, that's HB.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, it is.
Is
I
it?
think they made their flags better and cuter now because it says customer training. Now I think they're red and they say like future
Yeah, I think it is,
shopper
yeah.
training or something. I don't know what it is. That's so funny you mentioned that. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, they probably are going to do some AI stuff.
I would assume so, yeah.
Anyways, we went bonkers on that. The brain is going to help us with some of this. I think some of our building of the brain and understanding how AI is going to help us with some of this. We really have an uphill battle with our franchisors and making sure that they know some of this. But the days of going back to what John said, the days of hiring and outsourcing are kind of being counted. Like I think there's going to be a major hybrid today with people that are wildly capable and are building companies that are just stronger and healthier because they're built on some of this backbone that we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. So every system that we're talking about runs on this one machine. It's the brain. John, how do these systems actually talk to each other on the brain?
It's kind of, it goes back to the neural net, right? And it's like partitioning information that's needed. So if like a frontier cloud model is needing information, we partition a part of that information and give it to it. We're not giving full access to anything other than our local models. So like when Bobby's asking a question, right? Or you're asking a question to Bobby, our AI system, and it's going and looking for that. It's asking our harness, which is Hermes, that has a few local models on it, to then go and find that information, give it the partitioned information that it needs so that it can create the story and then tell you exactly that response. So it's a lot of systems working together. When you really dive into it, it's a little crazy, right? Because it's like one thing's asking another, that's going and searching for it, packaging it up for it, then resending it. That then is doing an analyzation and audit of it, then presenting and use some information based off of it in a conversational way. Because it started very much as like McAllen 83 is at this, McAllen 23 is at this, and like Schlotsky's is here, and that was it. So, and then we had to give it more conversational, like tooling and a way to present the information in text differently from the way it's saying it. So all in all, it's a lot of different systems working together to house it, like, to get that information, but it's stored locally, using local models to dive through it and presenting it in an easy package.
So the local language models, so what does running your local language models give us that using a cloud API doesn't? How would you describe that?
Peace of mind and security.
That's the biggest
Because something that happened recently with Grok was people that were using Grok, the new one from SpaceX AI, it was, for some reason, recently just started pouring all of your GitHub repository information to their cloud. And it was because a lot of those people were using, the base version of that model, not the team or enterprise version. They didn't look into the ZDRs. So that's the zero data retention documentation and stuff per company. And they just went at it, and then they just gave them all their information. And that can happen, at random moments. Things can change. So having that in mind and knowing that these local models are ours and only providing information to us and nobody else, that information never leaves our local systems unless one of these frontier models is asking a question about the data, right? Then it's giving it a partitioned version of the data. Because at the end of the day, we do need a lot of cloud models at the moment to do stuff that the local models can't, right? But we don't need to give it all of our information.
So if there's any business owners out there, operators that are already using AI similarly to how we're using it, but they're running everything on cloud today, when does it make sense for that business owner to start to own their own hardware and put everything in there?
When you're ready to build an intelligence layer. When you're ready to house all your data internally and give it a home, then you're talking about going from cloud to local. And then there's no reason to then just have local used by cloud, right? Because then it's kind of just entirely redundant. So right now, all of a normal business's systems are being stored on the cloud somewhere, usually partitioned between different clouds and different company clouds. And not in any way, shape, or form communicating together. So when you're ready to take that leap of going from cloud to local and owning your data and preparing for what's to come in the future, because I'm telling you, local is going to be the main priority for businesses in the future, running local models and housing your own data so that you're not worried about any, breaches or anything in the future, customer information, so on and so forth. That I lost my train of thought there, but that is kind of the main focus. Really.
And what's going to happen when we're 5 years down the road and we haven't stopped and we've been relentless about this, and now it's ready to start F&P now wants to start their own restaurant brand.
Yeah.
We now have deep insights of how we think, how we operate, what works, what doesn't work. We can crank out training material left and right. We can crank out policies. We can crank out handbooks. We can tweak them because it doesn't apply to this brand as much as it applies to this brand, et cetera. But the infrastructure, the black and white infrastructure that it would take to build this company, because it's not an e-commerce company or whatever, we would be able to dramatically speed up the whole process, right? Yeah. That's one example. It could be an acquisition that we're looking at. It can be, does this acquisition make sense? It has a lot of our financials. It is able to digest our leverage position. It's able to digest our cash flow and to be able to say, hey, is this the right fit? This is what this company is doing, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You pair that with your human assessment, because you can't bypass that, and use it as a data point, not as a all be all or whatever it's called, or what is it? Whenever you say everything's like perfect, it's not. It's a data point. You still gotta assess it yourself.
Yeah. A question for both of you: like, where do you see us going from here? Like, what gets built next on the brain?
Do you have anything that comes to mind right now? I'm gonna think about that a little deeper.
Well, I mean, I absolutely have something that comes to mind. Next is not Next, in some regards, is like our worst enemy right now because it needs to be fine-tuned what has been built already, and we know that we're challenged with building internally a management tool for ourselves to run our business and to have a brain. But we're also, and I'm very proud to announce, so Rudy, you do what you want with this, but I'm very proud to announce that we're in talks with now our second group to build custom AI tools for them. And you know that these contracts are very interesting. They're high dollar contracts. And I feel that what we're building is worth every single penny times 10. And the reason why I say that is because that's probably what's going to dictate what's next for us, truthfully, is because as now this is a business discussion, but as we take on a strategic client, and the reason I say strategic client is because we do not have the capacity, nor do we want to work with just anybody and everybody. This is not a volume product. This is a custom build that we're willing to engage with other people to improve their businesses. So therefore, we have to like the people. We want them to be successful. We want them to be good partners, etc. But if they fall in that bucket, then we're going to assess, like a doctor, like we have with the first two clients, what are their needs and what do they want. And why do we do that is because I think there's a humility in that. That's not saying that, well, we know exactly what's wrong with your business. Even though you've owned it for 30 years, I know what's better. No, we don't. We need to listen to them and assess it and say, can we teach them the conceptual of AI and then have them tell us their biggest problems and their biggest opportunity areas, and then we can build around that. So we know we're building or have built around supply chain. We've built around finance and accounting. And I think some of what's next is finish everything we're already building, which is a ton of stuff. It's too much, frankly, but we're gonna build and finish that. And then what's next, and maybe John has a different answer, but I think is whoever that next exciting client is that comes through our door and says, hey, I want y'all to build for us, then they're probably gonna tell us what we build next.
Yeah.
So my answer to that is pretty much exactly the same. So it's reinforce our current builds. Our AI voice assistant grows from just being, general high leadership to then kind of general support staff to then I think GM levels. I think I want to get it down to the point where a soft serve machine breaks and then a GM can be like, or a team member can be like, hey, my soft serve machine just broke. What do I need to do? How do I fix it? Or, hey, a team member is going through this. Like, what is the recommended route that I should take here? So like,
we're not in competition with these people because these are our partners.
Yeah.
But who's that valuable to?
Well, that ends up being valuable to our franchisors, right?
One step deeper.
One step deeper.
If you have a troubleshooting bot for ice cream machines, who's that valuable for?
Well, the people who make those machines.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
Because it gets very interesting very quickly. Now, other people are creating different AI tools and stuff like that. I mean, we're kind of the camp of let's be smart, but let's not be greedy, right? So if they came on our door tomorrow and said, hey, y'all have something cool, I'd say, yeah, let's put a nominal price on it, just value our time or something. Let's do some business because the stronger they are, the stronger we are.
Yeah.
And ironically, we've met some of those owners and they're cool guys, the people that make these ice cream machines and stuff. But by the way, somebody texted me yesterday and was like, I'm looking at an ice cream machine and this thing's $17,000. Like, what, is this correct? And I was like, probably, because we pay close to $30,000 for our ice cream machine.
Oh, man.
It sucks, man. Yeah, stuff is expensive. But for us, and I don't mean to cut you off, John.
No, that's fine.
For us, it's the internal resource and the cultural component of I don't have to just wait till somebody tells me to fix this, or I don't have to just wait until X vendor that determines if I sell ice cream or not today. I'm going to be a proactive manager, and I have a resource that F&P's given me. Hey, by the way, how do I fix my ice cream machine? And it's going to tell you, do this. And if you're at this step, don't do anything else, call X vendor,
Yeah.
right? Because maybe there's a safety issue or there's something there, right? But that kind of discernment is super powerful.
That's what comes next for that part. I mean, across our whole systems, the more data we have and the more things we build, the easier it gets to build more and solve more problems that people are dealing with. But then it goes to what Bob said, like helping take what we have done for ourselves and provide that value to other people.
The truth is this guy's making it look easy. Yeah. I mean, he's making it look easy. No, I'm serious, and I'm not patronizing. You're making it look easy, and we eventually, I believe this wholeheartedly, and I don't mean to. This is not me being arrogant. This is just me speaking factual. But I believe there will be a time in our company where we have somebody that just looks at our builds and then looks at what provides the most value and makes that a monetary strategy or a monetized strategy or a product, and says, hey, I think there's a real need in the restaurant industry. Can we have support in trying to make this a product in the market? Because one, we don't want to slow down the value that we're building here, but two, there's too much value not to capture some of this and put it out into the market, right? Whether that's there's intellectual, learnings from there. There's playbooks, there's knowledge, but then there's actual builds, and then there's actual kind of thought processes behind the build, and be able to package that and say, hey, here you go. Right, so that's kind of interesting. I don't know. That's genuinely what I believe. Yeah. Because we're not stopping. We're making this shit seem normal, and it's not normal.
It's going to compound fast.
Yeah. And I think most people would be sitting here and going, "Oh my God, how are we going to make $1 billion? Like, how are we going to sell this to so many people?" It's like, hey, let's just start here. This is the team that helped us build this, so let's empower everyone here, make this company stronger and healthier, secure our long-term future, and once that's reinforced, then we can look at having some potential product spikes where we start to drop in some cool technology pieces.
100%.
Yeah, I love that. One of my last questions here for any business owner out there that's never thought about anything like this, what's the one thing they need to understand before even considering anything like a brain for their company?
Where does your data live? Do you have it? Do you own it? Do you know about it? And that's pretty much where I would start, because with no data, there's no point.
There's just no way.
There's no point. If you have all your data in a filing cabinet somewhere, you better start digitizing.
Yeah. It's very interesting, right? So like what we just got off the podcast with the CEO of EcoTrack. I don't know if you saw it yet or whatever, it came out. With Matt, cool guy, by the way. I liked him.
He was great.
They have 30,000 restaurants. That's a lot of data.
Wow.
That's a lot of data.
So like, how are they not tomorrow just
doing it?
A credible voice in solving facilities and repair and maintenance and asset management. Now I need to go back and watch the episode because I can't remember exactly what he said about AI, but I know he's
thinking about.
Yeah,
he's integrating MCPs and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. He said that's like his fun projects right now.
But it takes. You just got to jump off a cliff.
Yeah,
it's as crazy as it is. It's a wild ride.
Jump into the new world. It's not even a cliff. It's the new world. It's the new way of operating.
It is.
And we were talking a little bit about that this morning about email and how we're intaking data differently. And for me particularly, email is not the right fit anymore because it's become noise, and because I have that many other touch points. And so that's me self-assessing and saying, oh, my operating flow, or whatever you want to call it, what your daily habits are to make decisions every day is changing. And I'm moving away from that and moving towards other platforms or other ways to intake information. And the reason I bring this up is not to talk about myself, it's to say that today we live in a world where you used to have movies on demand. It literally was called movies on demand, right?
Yeah, it was.
Well, now you have data on demand. You have like ideas on demand. You have a lot on demand. And therefore, I don't need to sit around and wait to get all my newsletters. We already have it, but we're creating dashboards of tailored news, blogs that are building sentiments here internally because this is the way we look at things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we didn't build any. We did. Does anyone have any other final
No,
questions?
no,
Because
no.
I'm-
Do you know
I'm
what
coming to a
Medvi is?
close. What's that?
Medvi?
Medvi.
Did y'all hear about
No,
Medvi?
that's
No, I haven't.
Medvi? I know it's because Genaro was going to close this out, but he doesn't want it to end. So
You said you were fired up, man. So
yeah, dude,
let's go.
I am fired up, bro. How can you tell me? Like, don't get me wrong. I don't care how many views we have. Like, y'all know the way I think.
Mhm.
Like, we are inundated with it's such a blessing. Let me stop and pause and just be grateful for the amount of phone calls, emails, texts we've gotten to just work with what I think are great people.
Yep.
So I'm extremely grateful for that. But I'm also in the call it arrogant or the most humbled way. How do these topics? How are they not? Obviously, I know how. It's because I suck at YouTube, right, and suck at content. But how are we not talking more about this? Like we said, it was going to reshape itself. Convenient is reshaping it. Well, it just started. It's happening. We also said, what was the other one? I forget. And we also said pizza months ago at Pizza Hut, and we said how that was going to reshape itself, and there was going to be some acquisitions and some selling. But what was the other one that reshaping is online ordering?
Well, I mean, we've been talking about empowering people with AI, and that's becoming the biggest topic right now.
Well, that's a good point because we didn't even delve into that today. But it was about voice and about how people were looking at the hospitality aspect of what. That's the opposite of hospitality.
Literally.
Like literally, AI is gonna do hospitality. Fuck no, dude. AI is not gonna do your hospitality for you. Like, get better at hospitality. Let AI do the other shit.
Yeah.
Like, anyways, y'all don't know what Medvi is? I mean, I
I feel
just
like
found
I
out.
do, but I don't know.
The $1.8 billion fake AI company
What?
you're referring to is Medvi, also stylized as MedVI.
The telehealth?
Yeah, it made headlines when the New York Times profiled founder Matthew Gallagher, but the company quickly faced intense public and regulatory backlash for building its massive revenue and marketing apparatus on a web of allegedly illegal AI-generated content and deceptive advertising. So the reason I just bring this up, you said what else, is, again, it's I know it's been all hot today and stuff like that, but there's love John's take, obviously, because he's leading us through a lot of these builds, but that humility goes a long ways. That it's not even humility. I mean, it is, but that groundedness goes a long ways. Because when I talk about that starry-eyed or greed, it sounds like, and I don't know, I have to do more research, but it sounds like this company falls right into that bucket. So I was reading about this. It's telehealth platform selling GLP-1 weight loss drugs generated roughly $401 million in its first full year. The founder originally projected a massive 1.8 billion run rate, running the entire operation with only himself and his brother. So what they started to do is create AI fake everything. AI fake photos, AI fake weight loss photos, AI
I did hear
fake
about this company
ads.
when they were building it.
Yeah, it was a while back, like 4 months ago or something. But AI generated doctors. The doctors were fake. We had that in this. Oh, sorry, I should say this. We had a very close instance to people faking prescriptions.
What the? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
That's crazy.
what?
yeah, you weren't part of this. A couple years ago, when we're first exploring AI, I got fake doctors excuses on. Dude, I got fake doctors excuses on my desk and fake receipts.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's-
safe to
yeah.
say we made a bad hiring decision. They don't work here anymore. Okay. Anyways.
Wow. Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's the tough part, right?
Great responsibility, or great power, great responsibility.
That's what I keep coming back to, and that's the point I wanted to drive, because the long game is better, in my opinion. But anyways, AI generated doctors, AI generated legal docs. I mean, you name it. They literally, and then they I think it doesn't say it here, but they created fake financials, I believe, and created fake revenue numbers, and got more funding for it on top of that. So it's like this crazy.
Yeah, I remember this being phrased as like the first two-person $1 billion startup.
Yeah.
And then everybody's like, oh, wow, somebody's going to finally do it. Because that's what everybody's waiting for right now is who's going to be the first single person $1 billion company.
Yeah.
We'll see. But obviously
Well,
not them now.
I really hope that guy does well or that girl does well, whoever it is. But I'm not labeling them. I'm just telling you right now, there's going to be a huge chance that they may be very lonely and sad. Because what are you going to do? You're building by yourself. You're amassing crazy amount of wealth. You have no one around you that, I mean, your product has to be so purpose driven or has to change the world to where you can feel good about what you did in the world in order for that company and that lone CEO entrepreneur to feel good. Because I think there's going to be something really messed up by not going through the journey with people. I think
it's going to be schooling related. As weird as that is. I think it's going to be schooling.
Ooh, that is super interesting.
I think somebody's going to take all curriculums that exist, build out a system that allows you to teach your kids at home.
That is interesting. Because
I just see so much about it.
And because there's such a big problem with it.
It's a huge problem, and it's an insane amount of money. Yeah. So
wow. Dude.
I actually had a friend that brought that up and said, man, I see y'all doing a lot of things with AI. Is there any way you can get into the school system and change the curriculum? Because it's just so antiquated.
Well,
like I'm showing students things that are just old. They're not paying attention.
Well, do you remember Khan's Academy? Did y'all ever look at Khan's Academy?
I've heard about it. I never looked into it.
Khan's Academy was like this, not Khan's Grill. That's what
That's the first thing I thought, though, when you said it.
Khan Academy was, I don't know how to describe it. I used to look at it. They used to make videos.
I feel like I do know what you're talking about.
They were like super good at taking complex problems and just making these little simple videos.
Yes, I do know what this is.
Khan Academy, and then there was another one too.
And they're probably going to sell it to schools. They're probably just going to be like a system that plugs into an existing school.
Well, it's an interesting. Oh, there's that Coursera. Also, I've used that one too.
I've seen that.
One thing that I'm using right now is called Marble at home, and Marble is just a GitHub repository of 7 different curriculums that's kind of bundled up, and then I made kind of like 2 iPad apps that are like one for each of my kids that you can like go in and. Every day is a new kind of a list of 7 different things. 4 are real world, 2 are like on iPad, like tracing or whatever. I moved kind of our paper system over to a digital system when Marble came out, which was like 3 weeks ago, very recent.
Oh, that's cool.
And then my wife has her teacher app where it's like she knows exactly what she's teaching through that specific lesson, things to say, all that other stuff. So they're coming out in an open source way, but somebody's gonna monetize it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because there's a big need there. It goes back to reshaping.
Huge
reshaping. Because we're really reshaping the biggest problem areas in our world right now.
Yep.
And creating more efficiencies, creating a more balanced curriculum. I would love to see more life lessons in there.
It should be majority life lessons, to be entirely honest with you.
Yeah, more mindset coaching.
What is it? It's called, in Japan, they do it a lot. Ethics.
Yeah.
Ethics is a huge part of schooling in Japan.
I mean, dude, can you imagine like what a great world it would be if a lot of our little kiddos were just coming out of school humbled or grateful instead of entitled.
Yeah. And morally sound. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like I mean that's like probably the biggest crux of Western culture is entitlement.
Yeah.
And so if it can be deeply ingrained, like a brain over there could be deeply ingrained. There's so many crazy shit. You know, we're having so much fun talking about this, and then I always remind myself that there's someone else out in the world just doing what we're doing and building something great, which is cool. I think it's fun. It's fun to be a part of this. I just feel blessed to be building it in a industry that is feeling a ton of disruption. I think people need to understand that in the restaurant industry, there's going to be more disruption and there's going to be more pain. Absolutely. But we gotta hold on to these new concepts and build around these new concepts. That way, we're just healthier in the long run.
Absolutely. We didn't buy a computer. We built a nervous system. Subscribe, share. This is RestroTech.
1、2、3、4